Some viewers may find this content disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Don, aka Outlaw, from the Countercall podcast. Yes, it is always good to see you stumble into the Fox Den. I hope everyone has been well and is ready for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. I am extremely tired and need to revamp myself. Much better. I have been putting in long hours figuring out what is going on with the Dogman phenomenon. Yet, without further ado, it is time for Outlaw and myself to take a walk into the darkness. Welcome back, my creatures. We once again own the night. It is time for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on StarFox Radio. We have Outlaw, 1/3 of the Countercult podcast, here with us tonight. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Not too bad, friend. Just trying to figure out this whole Dogman phenomenon, and figured I could pick your mind and you could pick mine for a few.
Absolutely, dude. The mystery continues with Dogman. I don't think it'll ever end.
This is very true. What are your thoughts, more or less, on Dogman in general and the connection potentially with people that are going missing in the forest and the connection with the missing 411? What are your thoughts on this?
So that's an interesting question. My early thoughts was regarding the missing 411. Was Bigfoot involved then? Maybe. But going down and doing research and looking closely at some of these cases, my thoughts turned to more of a Dogman encounter type deal.
Yes, that's very intriguing, and there are a lot of people that fall onto both sides of those. And what if I told you, I'd like to blow your mind here in a good way, that I believe Dogmen obviously are involved, but I also believe Bigfoot are involved, or Sasquatch, and then I also believe a portion of people are just having mishaps. Another portion of people are being attacked by, I agree with the theory of serial that are roaming areas. Again, this isn't everybody, but in these areas, think if you and I would like to get away in national parks or away from society, why would these individuals not want to do the same thing? Now, if you're looking in these areas, as I had stated, where people are missing, you have, yes, dogmen involved. Yes, you have some most likely psychotic individuals. You have feral people that are most likely playing something involving this as well.
Absolutely, man. And that was one of my other thoughts was, especially in the Appalachian region, there's cases of feral people being involved, and as well as Sasquatch. But what gets me is, especially in these regions, like, for example, in the Appalachian region and the Sierra Nevada / Rocky Mountain regions, you see this pattern of volcanoes or former volcanic sites like lava tubes and caves, and obviously high mountain places. And that's always the common factor regarding Dogman and Bigfoot and again, feral people. Now, looking closely from that map you sent me a while back, where all the pinks are, I noticed a little bit of, I wouldn't say a breakthrough, but a pattern type deal here where in the Great Plains area from North Dakota, if you were to look at the map from North Dakota and going straight down all the way to North Texas, you really don't see that many encounters regarding cryptids like Bigfoot or Dogmen.
Definitely. And like you were saying, when you track that map, it's some nightmare fuel, which is why I tried to put all three together before I sandwiched them on top of each other. So that way, a viewer or someone that would like to document the case is not only seeing the known cave systems, you're now seeing the areas where people are missing. And wait, you're now seeing the North American Dogman Project map that we're not even completely up to date on, showing you what's occurring. And yes, national forest, cave systems. So if these bodies aren't being found, they're obviously going somewhere. And the reason I state this is when someone is attacked, usually by a predator, anyone that knows that predator or the behaviors of predators in that area is going to be able to come into that attack area and basically dissect it. They're going to be able to be like, okay, well, there's pieces of clothing inside of the scat right here. It's pulled over here. This was a grizzly bear. Look at the cache. Oh, it's been pulled up into the tree. That must be a mountain lion, etc. But now when you get these cases where you're not finding any sort of the bodies, or if you do, they're extremely mangled, they're not showing you signs of normal predation. And recently, I'll have to send it to you. In Saudi Arabia, they found a cave system that had hundreds of human and animal bones in there.
Oh,
Meaning,
man.
yes, meaning these hyenas were obviously liking to pull their prey back to this cave system and they were living in it as well. So, like you said, if other animals are using cave systems, why would a potentially unknown species or cryptid, whatever terminology someone would like to use, why would they not inhabit those areas as well?
Exactly, man. And here's an interesting story that I was looking into. I'm sure you're familiar with the Dennis Martin case back in 1969.
Yep, nightmare fuel.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that, man, is the way the map is. They're going through in this map, this region, is they start at Cades Cove and go to Russell Field and Spencefield, and that entire area originally they used it for mining. So there we go again with the cave system or the mine system going underground. And I think this is just my speculation is when people are looking for these, like for example, rescue parties or search and rescue, they're always on the ground looking, but they never go look deep inside underground.
Cave systems are probably almost, I would say, as much unexplored as the ocean. I mean, the ocean, I believe, is the most unexplored. I think we know less about the ocean than we do space. And like you said, yes, no one is going into those areas and people are disappearing there. And with the Dennis Martin case, I believe I've heard a couple different potential versions, all very similar,
Mm,
but one about how the Green Beret came in as well
yes.
and went out looking for him. And I heard that when they came back, they were very quiet about what they said, except they did exchange words that it was taken care of, meaning that's that. But I also heard another version that they did elaborate a little bit more that Dennis no longer existed, that he was being consumed by something.
Yeah.
There was another family that spoke of seeing a boy or what looked like a boy being carried away by a large bear man or dog looking type creature. And Les Stroud went down to the area that this all occurred in because it was supposedly documented that person could easily have done that in that time frame. So Les Stroud went down to debunk that. And let's be real, he's arguably one of the best survivalists in the world. He was
I
unable to do that.
I agree with that. And Well, what's also unusual about this case is, yeah, I mean, there are feral people in the Appalachian Mountains like we were talking about earlier, but if that were the case, like some of the media theorizes, there wouldn't be any real need to send Green Berets to look for a missing boy if it were regarding feral people. This would be something more high case profile, like uh, again going back to Dogman or something more nefarious.
How many times has the Green Beret been sent in for any other individual, for the most part, that is being missing? I understand that was a very early form of special forces, and at that point in time, I don't know if there were Army Rangers and Navy SEALs, yet they're all very equivalent. So, if that something like that were to occur today, it would probably be whichever unit was closest and whichever unit could handle that. But there's other times where I've heard as well, hunters, campers, people that enjoy solo survival in the wilderness, coming across units of fully stacked up military
Yes,
individuals that are just in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know the most about this because I'm not law enforcement nor am I military, but I do have friends that are former law enforcement and still current, and they say that when they train, they do have areas in the wilderness they train, but it's never live ammo rounds. And I've also spoken to some other military people that had said the same thing. I can't verify if the individuals that are being seen are having live ammo, but the people say that when they see them, they look like they're getting ready to go overtake a small village or something because of how stacked up they are. Okay, I've always wondered this as well. Feral people, let's be real here, they're not going to be very well nourished. They're going to most likely be sickly because they're always going to be trying to consistently get food, and yet they're just a person that has become feral. They don't even have evolution on their side to be equipped to survive like a chimpanzee or something could in the wild. Now, these individuals would have to be in large groups, and they would literally have to. How could you overpower some of the people that are going missing in groups? Or if it is just a solo person, I do understand that. But say yourself, myself, and Rick are out there. Is a group of feral people really going to be able to dispose of us like that? I mean, I'm not saying they couldn't, but it seems to me like a Dogman or something, or a cryptid like a Bigfoot could easily do that.
absolutely, man. Regarding, yeah, cryptids absolutely could take down. It would be a tougher fight with Dogman, Bigfoot, whatever cryptid comes your way. But like you were mentioning, feral people. Again, this is just my opinion. Feral people wouldn't really stand a chance against a team of special forces.
Nope.
I mean, look at the evolution of the special forces, for example, and uh, again, when this case happened in the 1960s, at that time they were, yeah, that technology wasn't that great, especially with night vision and stuff like that. But they still had the best technology of their time available to them.
Still the
Uh,
Green Beret.
exactly, highly trained, highly effective, and honestly, man, in my opinion, I think the Green Berets back in that time were more ruthless, more effective, and more highly trained than they are now. Because again, lack of technology, so you're relying more on natural instinct and you know what I mean.
Look at the
Uh,
time frame and also what was acceptable. Yes.
yeah, and again, these people are going through Vietnam and all that. That's when the war was going on. So for them to be highly, with their senses highly honed with special forces at that time, again, lack of technology, refining their natural senses and all that. I mean, for them, for the government to send special forces, again, Green Beret, just to hunt feral people, that's, I don't know, that wouldn't
Waste of
be
assets.
waste of
Yeah,
assets. Yeah, exactly.
100%. And let's prefabricate for a second. Let's just think these feral people were more like the Descent in the movie. Let's give them a little bit of credit here, being stronger and faster. Still, like you just said, a group of specially trained forces individuals are going to wipe them out. And I've actually heard a story in the past, or a couple different stories, that the government has kind of already done that, sent in purge units to just deal with the feral people problem in America in the forest. So most likely their population would have to have been almost eradicated anyhow.
No, I agree with that. Then, especially in the Appalachian Mountains or the region, I have friends that live there. They're constantly seeing black helicopters there. what if these black helicopters aren't really for a nefarious purpose? What if they're sending in teams, like you were saying, to patrol the area, then track down and hunt these potential threats, like, again, cryptids that are getting out of control? And as Tim Moon said, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He wrote Tomato Fields.
I'm not. If you could elaborate a little bit, that'd be
Yeah,
excellent.
so this book, Tomato Fields, it's from a fictional point of view, but it's coming from his point of view. Something that happened to him and his brother a while back, or when they were younger kids. But I guess they had a Sasquatch encounter and pretty much left them traumatized. But getting back on point, so Tim Moon, he's also speculating that there's a rogue, pardon my French here, so you got your Dogman, but you got your assholes, more or
Yes.
less. Yeah. Your asshole Dogmen that are just completely going rogue, more or less. They're just basically causing havoc and putting their, I wouldn't say good Dogmen. I just think they're neutral in this whole, like a wild animal.
Yes.
And so I think these teams, these special forces teams or whatever, they're inserting their teams late at night to track down whatever threats that are uh, occurring there. For example, the missing people, or for example, you hear stories of kids or people encountering feral dogs, but it turns out I think it's something more than that.
100%. And also, with the feral people, they could definitely snag a kid. But like we were just saying, at the end of the day, no, there's no way. And my whole thing with I think people need to pump the brakes on always thinking black vehicles and black helicopters mean
Yeah.
something nefarious. At the end of the day, the FBI uses plenty of black vehicles that don't even have logos on them when they are pursuing something. And as you said, if they're going into an area, of course, they're going to try to be discreet about it because the majority of the population has an eggshell mind. I'm not trying to be negative, but look at what like the eclipse, what was going on. The world was going to end. Look it back in, I can't remember the time frame, but the War of the Worlds, when they read that over the radio at the point in time when it was new, everyone thought it was real and they were jumping out the window and disposing of themselves because they couldn't comprehend what was going on. So now if you were just flying, say, a military helicopter with camo on it out across Tennessee, what do you think people are going to say? They're going to think we're going to war with Russia. They're going to think China's invading or something. Their minds are just literally going to explode. So obviously, yes, the government is going to be trying to be discreet about it. Just like when they admitted UFOs were real, they were still discreet. And the reason is, at the end of the day, okay, a meteorite's coming. We can't really do much about it. We know it's coming. Oh, why would they tell that to the general public? How is that going to react? Everyone's going to freak out.
No, I agree, man. And that's the thing, like with the military, for example, it's common standard order of procedure to send in or to ride in black helicopters, especially at night. That's how the enemy doesn't discover you, or you know what I mean. And
Wait, you don't
uh,
put green lights on it and big flashing beams?
no, yeah, you're just gonna, again, they're gonna be as discreet as possible. They're not gonna announce themselves, especially if they're doing a late night mission or ops or training. They're even in training. They're not going to announce themselves. They have to treat it like it's an actual mission, combat mission, I should say. And um, yeah, again, obviously they're not going to announce themselves. And like I mentioned earlier, it's not always a nefarious thing if you see a black helicopter. But anyway, that's my rant.
No, again, that's why I approach things subjectively and objectively because I couldn't agree more. A lot of times that could just be a training unit for something, and people, again, just can't seem to comprehend some things that are common sense and some things that aren't such common sense. And when I look at my research or research in general, that's how I try to approach it. For example, all the cases that we have right now that haven't been debunked, some of those cases probably still are misidentification, yet there is no way for us to prove that they saw something different than what they think they saw. So those reports, for example, stay where they are because they can't be debunked and they can't be more proven than what they've been proven. And that's why we're trying to take it to the next level of really encouraging people. Don't just take the one silhouette image. It's good now people are putting a glove down or their glasses down, but people need to take images as if it's a crime scene. You need to understand that people that are specialists, like our tracker, that are trying to understand the gait pattern, the distance, when is it bipedal, when is it quadrupedal, they need to see more than just one footprint. They need to see other footprints showing this. They need to be able to look at what is the terrain, where are the bushes around here, etc. And people aren't specialized in that, so we understand that, but it's almost useless. We're to the point of single images are almost useless, and we are trying to bring on a couple biologists. We also have an environmentalist who is friends with these two biologists that did just join the North American Dogman Project, and I'll be talking to her actually on Monday, which is great. Her name's Colleen. She was telling us how, in general, animal species behaviors are changing just because of the encroachment on the environment, climate change, etc. And also within North America, when they've reintroduced wolves into certain areas, when they've bred these new species of wolves, they've bred them with Malamutes and other type dogs that are very similar in DNA. So now you have your wolf, but now you've changed the behavior and you have natural wolves that already are very aggressive and have that behavior, but now you're adding in behaviors of more aggressive dogs. And she was saying there's been a ton of documented cases of wolves now consuming less than 40% of a carcass of something, and they're just pretty much ripping things apart. So she also potentially thinks now people should look at the behaviors of Dogman and Sasquatch, that they're all obviously becoming more angered with the encroachment and the lack of respect towards the environment, and animals in general have been said not like us since we became civilized. So now the whole realm of animal and nature is changing because of our actions.
No, and I agree with that, man. And as far as like, again, I'm a conspiracy paranormal podcaster, but with me and the rest of my team with the Countercult podcast, we always try to gather the evidence first before we make any speculations regarding what we're looking into. I mean, you always have to get the facts first before you throw out anything else.
You can't pull the trigger that quick. And no, that's what I respect about you guys, because it's a big problem when, hey, I have no issue if people want to read creepy pastas and enunciate that, hey, once a week we're doing this or something, or even all the time and just tell you that, that's totally cool. My big issue is channels and threads and
Yes.
podcasters that are saying that these are true events, and then you filter through and you realize, where are these verified? I don't know anyone within the North American Dogman Project that has heard this case. Okay, sure, if maybe, but we're the largest organization that researches dogmen in the world. Wouldn't somebody within our organization have heard of this? And then yet you're saying it's true, and then I read some of the comments from the person that put out the video. These are two alleged Dogman encounters. Again, you're not saying times, you're not saying dates in your storytelling, because that's what I'm going to say it is, storytelling, which isn't okay. Like, I understand content creators, you're a content creator. I'm a content creator.
Mm.
Everyone wants to and deserves to be paid for your content creation. But there's plenty of content creators that tell the truth and make money off their content creation. Mr. Ballin, explore with us. There's ways to create content and be truthful and follow what it is that needs to be portrayed to people to help educate. If YouTube wants to pay somebody because they like what you do and you're telling the truth and you're doing a great thing, that's great. I mean, Miller Wilson, for example, is an animal activist that creates amazing content on YouTube where he goes all around Australia and gets super close with all these exotic species, and he helps koalas, all that. So yeah, he's a content creator and YouTube wants to pay him because he does awesome stuff. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when people are saying this is real and you have 30, 40, 50,000, almost a million subs that are brainwashed thinking that what you're saying is real when you're just reading an email that's been sent in.
No, I agree with that, man. 100%. And that's the thing, like, yeah, like you were saying, it's fine if you want to make content, but be honest about it, be truthful, get your facts first. It really hurts content creators like you and I when we have people just throwing in misinformation regarding what we're into, and just, I hate saying making things up, but just completely spinning the truth into something else. And
Call a
I
thing
mean,
a thing.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, nothing wrong with trying to get your stuff out there, but you got to be honest about it.
Yes. I mean, like you said, there is nothing wrong with that. There's a biologist I love to watch. She creates content. She's telling you about history, evolution, and species. YouTube loves her content. She's paying her. But again, she's showing you facts that are verifiable, that are verified by scientists, other biologists, including herself. And yes, that's what needs to be done. And that's why, as a journalist, when I approach that topic, that's why I focus on just the Dogman. I want it to be the most reliable, the most credible YouTube Dogman journalist out there. And once I get it in the proper hands that I feel where science can then take it to the next level, I would love to potentially, yes, pursue something else. But as a good journalist and a good researcher, I don't think someone is doing a topic justice when they dive into so many different things, which is okay. But a lot of people that claim they're researchers will be diving into missing people, then Mothman, then Jabba Fofi, then Lizard Man, then reptilians, then the Matrix of life, which is all that stuff's okay. But I don't feel, like I said, the Dogman, we're talking about something that's been going on since 290 BC.
Hmm.
There's so much that needs to be focused on for that. It can't even be done. I have 524 pages and I'm not even close to finding out the Dogman phenomenon.
No, man, like I was mentioning earlier, the Dogman mystery, I don't think it's ever going to be solved in our lifetime. It's just like you were saying, it goes all the way back to that time period. Then, so I use the Bible to, look up the mysteries of things, and for my content. I used to be a Bible teacher, but well, for example, in the Bible, you got certain tribes of. Again, I'm not going to preach anything here
No,
because,
no, just educate because I'm not very familiar with that topic. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
with King David, so you have his soldiers, his they call them the David's mighty men. So you got these highly elite soldiers of that time, and you would see or read about them encountering certain cryptids like the Lion Men of Moab. Um, so when I was a skeptic, man, I used to think that maybe it was just a tribe of people wearing lion skins, but over time, my theory evolved. The Bible's the most supernatural book out there, and um, I think what they were up against were actual lion slash man cryptid.
Wow, that's intriguing. I do know, like I said, I'm a Dogman guy, but I do know there's a ton of different potential variations. So I'll use one like the baboon. I do have a theory that maybe the baboon version they're seeing has something to do with the Dinopithecus. So it's still being classified as a baboon type like Dogman, but it might not directly have canine DNA like the type 1 or the type 2 that are German
Hmm.
Shepherd looking.
Yeah, man, and one of the things I like about you, man, is you're always trying to get the correct information first before you're trying to post anything, or you know what I mean. And that's how content creating should be. That's just my opinion. I'm sure you feel the same way, and I'm sure others feel the same way. But
No, I appreciate that. It's very kind words, and I definitely would like to educate people and put out the, as you said, the proper information and just know that it's been done the research to figure out, hey, what's occurring in this case, because you can't just give people platforms that aren't credible, and also you can't just play in your own puddle of mud. I mean, if you're going to just sit here and play in your own puddle, whereas any sort of good subjective or objective criticism about the topic, and if you can't, not you, but if someone in general can't sit back and take in some of that and understand, hey, if someone thinks this is more supernatural or this is more non-supernatural, then what are we doing here? And
yeah,
yeah, like even though we got to wrap this up here soon, I'll give you a quick little example. Ryan Tremblay, an excellent cryptozoologist, really on our latest episode helped differentiate wendigos, skinwalkers, and I know about the Dogman, so I was able to interject on that. And what a lot of people are really misunderstanding with the Skinwalker, a tiny little segment, a little teaser, a lot of the names of those from the Navajo tribes mean he walks on all fours or
Mm,
being on all fours. So this you would change into that animal and you would still have your intellect as a human, but you are now just the pelt of the animal. You didn't turn into a raging beast or a bipedal werewolf type entity that's still more under the curse. If you look at the true natures of the skinwalkers, none of that occurs in their lore.
that's correct, man. That actually reminds me a lot of the Viking berserkers, how they would take certain things like mushrooms, and uh, they would wear animal furs to, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess to project their power. You know what I mean?
I love your mind because I was actually just going to say that before we wrap this out. That was one of the last kind of things I wanted to say to you is about the animal skins, as you were saying. So there are cases of point in times where there were people that did wear animal skins. I mean, look at our ancestors, Neanderthals and Denisovians. They would have worn animal clothing to put on to stay warm. And there also is documented points in times in Germanic areas where there were tribes of people that were wearing wolf skins that were thought to be werewolves in the forest because of how crazy they acted. And also, as you just said, with the Vikings. So those also need to be taken into consideration where when fear is installed on somebody, again, yes, at that point in time, some of those cases of the werewolf could have been that, but then that doesn't account for the cynocephali that wore human clothing that actually had fur all over them.
Wow. Like we were mentioning earlier, man, like as far as getting the facts and all, and there's nothing wrong with looking into the spiritual and into science. I mean, if you do it the right way, I think it'll make an awesome combination that will give you uh, a higher chance of understanding what's going on in our world.
Yes, what do you do with a specialist? If you specialize in something and I don't specialize in something, well, a fool would then try to do it themselves, or someone that would be intellectual would reach out to a person that is more qualified in what they're doing. And if we want answers on the topic, yes, we need to be able to speak to people. I'm a journalist, I'm an author, I'm a visual content creator, a graphics designer, but I'm not an environmentalist. I'm not a tracker. I can tell you that track looks crazy. I can document, I can tell you the specs once they're taken and given to me. I can put them up on the website, I can create charts, I can do all that. But I can't tell you how much this animal weighed when it stepped down like Nuxium can. I can't tell you what other small animals stepped in those tracks. They just look like big ass tracks to me. Our environmentalist, Colleen, she can tell you what's going on in the area. I go in there, hey, that's a cool looking plant. Oh, I think that's a pine tree, etc. So those are a lot of the people that you need on your side because then you're getting science in with also people that can still be quality researchers when approaching a topic. Like I have no connection to any of my encounters, man. I have no connection to any the evidence pictures. I didn't take any of those. Even if I did, I don't care because I'm here to either debunk or is this unknown. So when something gets debunked, I don't, oh no, that's a good thing. Yes, thank you for now saving me and other people time frames by debunking this. Now we can move this over to another file and boom, just get rid of it. So
No, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. That you're right on the spot regarding that.
no, I appreciate you, man. Well, thank you for stopping by Midnight Lycanthropy tonight. I would definitely love to get you back on at some point in time and we can talk some more Dogman stuff. And if you ever, again, have questions or opinions about things, definitely fire them my way because I'm always trying to, as I stated, subjectively and objectively approach the topic.
No, absolutely, man. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. I had a blast doing this. So yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime you want me on your show, feel free to hit me up.
No, I appreciate your time. And I try to, like, my goal basically is want to put out at least one episode of Midnight Lycanthropy a week. I want to put out one narration with Star Fox Radio where I dive into an area. And then I also, my little brother made a good suggestion about making some shorts that could grab people's attention that they can just click on, say, four smaller shorts that tell them the story they're looking for and just try to draw in a different audience So yeah, I would love to definitely get you back on, and we'll dive into some more of this.
Hell yeah, man, I'm aboard.
Cool. All right, I will see you very soon, Outlaw, and beware of the Dogman, friend.
You as well, my friend.
Thank you for everyone who stopped by the Fox Den for another episode of Midnight Lycanthropy here on Star Fox Radio. I do appreciate all the support. And if you do enjoy my content and want me to keep on churning it out, please like, subscribe, and share it. Feed the algorithm. And until next time, stay safe out there.